Hello and welcome back to my channel. So if you click the link that was over there in the short, then this is the reading regarding the potential fears that you may or may not be aware of that could be blocking you from the happiness you're searching for. And then what I was saying in the quick read was that gratitude will get you there. Now, I am going to go a little deeper with this because I had to look into, this is one of my little crystal balls. It's like a marble, but it is a carnelian, and it always reminded me of the planet Saturn. How Saturn has that little tornado, or I guess it's a tornado. It's like a storm, but it's the red spot, and this is the inverse of what Saturn looks like. You know, like the big red spot on Saturn. This one's like not red, but the whole stone is red, and it's a carnelian. And so I actually had to look up what the significance of a carnelian stone is and what it does for people. Wait, what did I find? It had to do with feelings. It helps heal emotional things, like emotional pains of like feelings of inadequacy or and it, wait, I mean, where did I put it? I took a screenshot and let me see. Where'd it go? Okay, here it is. So it enhances self-esteem and creativity to combat feelings of inadequacy, to increase physical energy, and to overcome insomnia. So in the home, carnelian is believed to increase motivation towards action. So if fears of inadequacy or feelings of inadequacy are plaguing you, then definitely this stone could help. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I picked these stones before I pulled those cards. Like this stone, these two. This one's carnelian, this one's rhodochrosite, and am I saying that right? Rhodochrosite. 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 My little mushroom that's sitting on top of a piece of fluorite. And let's see. So the rhodochrosite is a stone of divine love and compassion. I didn't know that until I looked it up. And then let's see. This one also gives us inner strength to take another chance at love. If love is something that was you're fearful of, then this is resonating with the reading as well before I even pulled the cards out. Because like I said, I put these on here and this one on here before the cards came out. And this stone right here is a rainbow. Wait, no, it's like a pink or a quartz, I believe is what it was called. I got it a while ago, and then I wrapped it in copper wire, and I wear it, you know. So like, if you can, the person or the people that are receiving this message, definitely look into maybe getting yourself a piece of carnelian to help you with your inner strength and to, you know, feel this, like it said, like I don't have to repeat it, I just said it. So yeah, like these stones could help you in some shape or fashion, potentially, if you feel it. So now, let's get to the reading. Okay. Well, I pulled out another oracle deck. And this one is the Prism Oracle deck. So, and it's like rainbow colored. So let's see what messages come out regarding this reading for us. I'm gonna see if we can get 3 cards to clarify each of those 3 that we already have. So Just shuffle that. Oh, and we got 2 so far. Let's get another one. And right now they're kind of making sense. Cool, we got 3. So that's how that happened. Alright, now the 3 that came out, the first one, this is a purple card, and it says sadness. That was for the clarity under fear. And under happiness, we got surrender. Now this is one of the spirit cards in this deck. And then under gratitude, we have strength. And this is a red card. This is a fire card. Everything that's red seems like fire energy, and also sacral root chakra energy, and it goes with the reading. Now, color scheme wise, this sadness is kind of like, you see how it's like the border around each of these cards? So this is something that I'm getting that you're dealing with on a kind of a long-term basis. You've been dealing with it, and my heart goes to you if that's the case, because sometimes it's like the flick of a switch, and then you can see that things aren't necessarily, well, the fears that you have, about inadequacy and feeling worthy. This was like another reading I gave, but it's coming up again, so you might be one of those viewers that saw that reading. And it's not the same message, but this is also telling you that those fears are in the past, and right now you maybe have come away from those fears, but you can feel them lurking up into your present moment. And this is the happiness that you're fighting for. If you look, see how she's looking back at her former self and the fears that she was. She's kind of in that fetal position back there, and that's where the sadness was, and it's like that looming cloud of sadness. So now when you surrender to happiness and gratitude, now when it comes to gratitude, like this is a strength, being grateful for stuff and being grateful for the things that were negative that happened to you, because they were, essentially lessons that you learned. So, feeling gratitude for having gone through those and made it through, especially if you're watching this reading, that's something to be proud of, because that's that wounded warrior energy that I'm getting, that 9 of Wands energy. And that's a strength, making it through another day, because sometimes that's the hard part, is even just waking up and getting out of bed. And then once you do that, that's an accomplishment, and you got to put that in your belt of achievement, put that in your belt of achievements and accomplishments. And every little win matters, especially if you're struggling to get away from a depressive state of mind, And then I do want to pull some actual tarot cards too for you in this reading. So let me shuffle. This is one of my cool new decks that have like these really cool shiny pieces on the side. I thought that was cool, so I was really. But here, let's shuffle it up. Let's see if we can get clarity for our viewers. Now we have a message of, fear being like a looming theme, and getting over that fear and getting away from this constant battle of trying not to be depressed, or trying not to be sad, or feel that you're inadequate in whatever way. What messages can we give our viewers to help them on their path to happiness? Because, sometimes happiness is a struggle to find, especially if you're in a situation that doesn't feel supportive of you pursuing things that you truly love. So let's see. Nothing. There we go. Oh, there's 3 of them. Okay. So let's see. You see how they just kind of fall out? That's how I shuffle. So what do we got? So this one is the death card going to the fears. Okay, so that can be a couple things. Now remember, the death card is an ending card, like it says on here. This is endings, beginnings, change, transformation, transition. Now it did come out kind of flipped because it was right here. Okay, so what that describes is a resistance to change and unable to move on, or having that looming feeling like what I was talking about before. That looming feeling of the sadness coming back, or your fears of whatever happened in the past coming up to sabotage your happiness in the present and potentially in the future. Because I was telling you like how the colors around the card, even in gratitude, there's still that looming darkness around the outside. Now, and in the other video, I did mention that darkness isn't always as bad as it seems. Because remember, we're in a world full of dichotomies, meaning there's a plus and a minus, a dark and a light. Now remember, dark and light is energy, and energy is neither bad nor good. It's what we define it as people and spirit and spiritual beings. Now the 2 other cards that came out was your happiness card. For happiness, the 7 of Swords came out. Now this card has a bad rap, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because even like it says on here, it says betrayal, deception, getting away with something, stealth. Now, what it doesn't tell you is that this guy that is taking these swords is removing them from a battle. Now, this person could be taking swords out of an unfair fight. This is what is not said in this card. Okay? So, this is what I mean by some of the dark things that we perceive as dark and bad may not be as dark as we thought, because this guy isn't necessarily stealing and betraying somebody. He's making whatever battle is happening fair to both sides. That's one way to see it, because you don't know the full story, but that could be potentially what this person is doing, leveling out the playing field for both sides, so it is a fair battle. Now, and when you see it, like, he's taking weapons away from potential danger. Now, and if they see that they don't have enough weapons, these people might decide not to fight. And ultimately, that's even better than fighting sometimes, is not fighting, because then it makes you reassess the situation and you may come up with a better resolution, you know? So this card kind of has a bad rap. And on bad raps when it comes to the tarot, like, the whole thing of the tarot has a bad rap, and I had to do a little research on it before I even started doing tarot readings, because I always thought that it was negative and evil and had to do with the devil and, you know, death, the death card and all that stuff. And, you know, these are just cards with images and words on them, and they represent, like, this is a major arcana card. This one is a minor arcana. And so, like, these cards represent big things that happen in our lives, like death, like actual people dying. That doesn't mean you're going to die. I mean, eventually all of us do die, because we do live only a temporary life here. But that's not an evil thing. That's a reality that we face. And also, like what it says on the card here, resistant to change, unable to move on. That goes along with what I was saying before I even shuffled the cards out. You saw how they fell. this fear that you're battling from the past, the sadness that you're battling that leads to depression and unhappiness, that you're afraid will come and steal your happiness. You're right. It can. But you don't have to let it, especially if you're aware of it. And that's the beauty of it. Because with this Seven of Swords, this betrayal, you're actually betraying the fear. You see how that works? So you can betray the fear by living in gratitude. You see how this all comes together? And I can't just make it up. This is how it comes out in the readings. When you surrender, when you surrender, and you see how these circles, they go up and up and up. And that's reaching to your higher self. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 circles on this. And then that reminded me of the chakras. But there's 7 chakras, right? So, but either way, this is still like an ascension of sorts. And you have like your base, and then these circles all go up somewhere. And on the camera, it kind of looks like they could be a little bit 3D. But the point is, when you surrender to gratitude and finding things to be grateful for, even the fears that you had, even those fears, they come in handy. Because think of it like when a baby is at the top of the stairs. Now this is an example that came to mind. Like when a baby is learning how to walk and they're at the top of the stairs, there's a natural fear of heights, which saves that baby from trying to fall down the stairs, because they see the height, they get dizzy, and they walk away from the edge of the stairs, hopefully. Some babies are fearless, but that's scary. So hopefully you can learn from your fears and you can grow from them and know that, yeah, they did cause sadness, but that sadness can become strength. That's how that works. And then also this strength, and oh my gosh, I just saw this card. This is the Two of Cups. This was the third card that was flipped out with these 3 cards when I did the tarot. So this third card out is the Two of Cups, which is about unified love, partnership, attraction, relationships. So if your fear had to do with an interpersonal relationship, this reading is saying that you can learn from your past, and you don't have to let your past rule your future. You can use whatever it was that you were fearful of, like those feelings of inadequacy. When I was talking about this stone, this carnelian, and I had to look it up before I did the reading. This stone fortifies feeling good about yourself. And this one had to do with some kind of divine love, right? And you see how it all relates? Like that's the beauty of this stuff. And then the thing that I found out with the tarot cards was that they're based off of a lot of spiritual, like the, what was it? The King James version of the Bible, actually. Like, there's different stories that these cards are from. And even I think it's the number 2 major arcana card. I think it's called the High Priestess. And she has 2 pillars on her card, and there's 2 letters on it. And I looked up what they meant. They're from the Temple of Solomon, and that was the first temple that was dedicated to the study of Jesus Christ. Yeah, and it's right there in the tarot cards. It's the second one. They're the temples of Boaz and Joaquin, I believe is what they're called, and they're the entry pillars into the Temple of Solomon, or Solomon's Temple, which was the first temple of Christ, I believe. So, yeah, the things that we fear may not be as fearful as we thought when you look into them and you actually take a scrutinizing eye to it. Um, Let me see. I think there's one more thing I need to give you guys for this reading. Where did I put my other? Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, so I wanted to pull one card or two cards. Let's see what comes out for our final thoughts and maybe some advice. This is more of an advice type of a deck. I feel it's the Osho Zen Tarot deck. I really like this one because it has to do with Zen philosophies, and like I just thought that was cool that a Zen master made a version of tarot for people that were spiritual and Buddhist, but we can use it too because we're playing with the cards. So let's see. So real quick recap. The fears from our past can be our strengths in the future, and that's the message to remember. So whatever you feel is looming that you're fearful of happening again in the future or ruining your present happiness, it's important to really take inventory about what it was that you were so fearful of. And also, like, this card could be interpreted as betrayal, like I said, but what this person might be doing is betraying the actual negative event of a battle happening, because without those weapons, these people that have those three left, they might not want to go into battle, which saves a lot more lives than what would have happened had all 7 of those swords stayed, you know? So this deception might have been a blessing in disguise. And now if your deception has to do with your happiness, or if it has to do with another person, then maybe that deception, the deception that you're either fearful of, is something that you really need to be mindful about, and wondering why is it that you're fearful of deception from that person to begin with. Because if you place that into the ether, it becomes a thing because you're feeling it too much, if that makes sense. It's all about manifesting your reality, and what's on your mind is what becomes your reality. So with that said, your fear can be a future strength if you leverage it that way. Meaning, don't resonate with the fear anymore. Be thankful that you had it so you know not to be there all the time. And put your mind somewhere thankful and grateful for your present happiness, and it will maintain that happiness, and it'll actually carry it into the future. And then in a future full of gratitude, so this symbol right here, this spiral, is like I had another deck of cards that had that spiral in it, and it reminds me of the life spiral. And this is like eternity or infinity, but it's the wrong shape. It's not the 8 symbol, but this is the ancient symbol of, it's kind of like the Fibonacci sequence spiral. But either way, gratitude, infinite gratitude brings you infinite happiness is the point that I was trying to make. And I got a lot of words, but I was trying to get you a final card from the Zen deck because I love this deck. Oh, there it goes. Let's see, what is it? Okay. Look at that. You can't make that up. That flew out. And it's the 5. The same, what I told you earlier, how 5 in the tarot deck has a negative, or I don't know if I got that far because it was talking about this 7, but 5s in the tarot deck have a negative association with them throughout each of the tarot things, like each of the suits. I think it's like the 5 of Cups is about lamenting emotions, and then I think 5 of Pentacles is about. Normally it's a person sitting like this, the 5 of Pentacles, and they're left out and they're in poverty. I think 5 of Wands is about conflict within a team, and then 5 of Swords is losing in conflict mentally. So that's another thing that's another video, but here's the 5, okay? And now 5 actually is a good thing. This is what I was about to say earlier when I was telling you this card has a bad rap too, and so does this one, like the Death card. Like all of these have bad raps, but in reality they're not that bad, because this one has I just read what it says, clinging to the past. How on point is that with what I was talking about? Like, you saw me shuffle, it flew out, or I don't know if you saw that on here because I'm really close to the camera, but so I was shuffling the deck, and I was shuffling this, and this card flew out over there, and it fell off the little table I'm doing this on. So anyway, yeah, I don't pick the cards, they fly out, and then that's how I do my readings. So this right here, clinging to the past, this is to bring that awareness to you. This is from the Zen tarot deck. So this is about Buddhism, and this reminds me of a Taoist philosophy. Well, actually, the Tao of Pooh. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book, but it was a book that I read back in college, and it was part of a Zen Buddhism class I took as an elective. And Taoism is being present every moment. It's and being Zen in a moment is also like a flow state of being as well. It's being in divine love with the self. And the reason I bring that up is because number 5. Number 5 to me is actually like the fulcrum, like on a scale, it's the balance point. And number 5 is, for me, it always feels like delta. And I'm kind of a nerd, but like delta in thermodynamics means change. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with thermodynamics, but it's a physics thing. And so in that world, 5 always felt like a triangle. And that sounds kind of funny now that I say it out loud, but it really did to me. And so 5 has always been like a fulcrum, and kind of how like this is a diamond. So imagine a line going straight through the middle there of that 5, and there would be like a triangle pointing up and a triangle pointing down, right? So, and then there would be like, if there was a lever here, it would balance like that. Okay, so 5 is about change. Okay, and like I said, in the tarot deck, 5 has a bad rap, but 5 for me represents change. And it could be for the good or for the bad, depending on how you want to look at it. So this is saying that clinging to the past is probably not serving you well. And now that I'm looking at this card, what is this? This is like a cup, and this is like a person with all sorts of, her head is a box of jumbled up chaos, and there's stars everywhere in this card. Interesting. 5 is about change for me, okay? And clinging to the past is, like I was saying, holding on to the past carries it into the future. So when you surrender to gratitude of going through what you've been through, then you can assure that your fears from the past, your sadness from the past can become a strength of your future. You don't have to hold on to that. You have to learn from it so that when you're living in gratitude, happiness is what you get. Okay? And that's how you stay happy, is staying grateful for everything that you've been through. That's how all this stuff that you went through, and maybe you're still going through it, it can become a strength when you surrender to your gratitude for actually having gone through it and making it as far as even just watching this video. Now, to cut down on time, I'm going to let you guys go there because I just saw the time stamp. And I want to thank you, and I want to wish you well. Until next time, have a blessed one.